When it rains, it pours, faithful. The San Francisco 49ers have been dealt some devastating injury news. Players' years are over. Tragedy is struck again. It is just a very challenging time right now for everyone who is involved with the San Francisco 49ers. Doesn't matter if you're a fan, doesn't matter if you're a staff member, doesn't matter if you're a player. It is just like the title says, it is insane. But we are here to talk about it. I want to share the information with you. We'll react to it. But man, oh man, it has been a challenging day for the San Francisco 49ers. So let's get into it. If you want to, drop an SDS in the chat. You don't have to. Smash that like button if you want to. You don't have to. And let's talk about it all right now. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. Woo! Wow. Boy. Today was a rough one. Started off rough this morning and only got worse as the day progressed. So let's get into the updates. Obviously, I'm sure most of you guys have already heard, but let's get into them. Let's react to them. And let's enjoy our life as 49er fans and the season that will soon be referred to the one that shall not be named. But as it stands right now, we are in it. We are living in it, and we have to deal with it. So starting with the most, I can't even say the most unfortunate news of the day. That's the crazy part. I can't even say that. So Christian McCaffrey, he is likely done for the season. He is going to be placed on IR with a PCL injury. Timetable to recover is about 6 weeks' time. Obviously, there's only 5 weeks left in the season. And so effectively, Christian McCaffrey's season is over. It doesn't sound like he will require surgery, which I guess is a positive. But overall, just absolutely terrible news for Christian McCaffrey, who looked like he was back. I mean, when you look at how he was running in that game against the Buffalo Bills and the explosive nature in which he was moving with, and man, if he doesn't get tripped up on that play where his knee goes straight into the turf, we're probably talking about a touchdown on that play. Who knows if he stays healthy the remaining part of that game and what comes of that. But jeez, just absolutely brutal injury news coming for the San Francisco 49ers as CMC's year is coming to an end. But again, it's like this is one element of it. Only one element of it. You're like, oh, CMC done for the season. That really stinks. Sure does. It really, really does. I feel terrible for him. But then we find out directly after that, the San Francisco 49ers backup running back, Jordan Mason, is on IR. And his season could very well be over. So what an insane development. The fact that not only your running back who looked like he was finally getting back into form, heads to IR. Now Jordan Mason will be on IR with a high ankle sprain. At this point, there's no guarantee that Jordan Mason is going to return this season. I think there might be a chance, but I think you have to kind of get it into your head that it is most likely done for Jordan Mason. And now, unfortunately for JP, the next conversation that will follow is he is a restricted free agent. So the 49ers will ultimately own his rights. They will probably hit him with a second round tender during the offseason. Any other team could come in and offer him a contract. If the 49ers opt to not bring him back, which I don't think they will, because if a team comes and they offer Jordan Mason a low, when I say low end, like I'm saying more like a mid-value starting running back contract, I don't know if he has enough body of work for him to get a super big time contract, but he has enough body of work that someone would be interested in the services of Jordan Mason, that they could come in, they could offer him a contract. The 49ers would not be able to match that deal. And then the 49ers would get a second round draft pick in return. And then Jordan Mason signs elsewhere. Very similar to the situation that happened when the 49ers tried to get Brock Wright from the Detroit Lions this year. He was a restricted free agent. They put in a 3-year, $12 million contract offer. The Lions matched it, and so they retained the rights of Brock Wright. So again, with the 49ers contractual issues coming up, and someone offering Jordan Mason a mid-level range contract for a starting running back, that could have been the last game that we've seen Jordan Mason play for the 49ers. Now, it's not a foregone conclusion that is the case, but it is a range of outcome that we could have seen Jordan Mason take his last snap with the San Francisco 49ers. So brutal. Absolutely brutal. I know we all love JP. We've loved JP since he came in as an unrestricted free agent. I'd love to have him around next year, but again, there's no guarantee that is going to happen. And don't forget, this is now 3 of the 49ers top running backs on IR. You can't forget that the 49ers started this season with, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm blanking on his name. I haven't even thought of him since they probably put him on IR. Oh my goodness. Number 25. This is embarrassing. I need you guys to help me out here. I think my brain, Mitchell. Thank you. Jeez. That's bad. Yes, Mitchell. Elijah Mitchell. Thank you. Elijah Mitchell is also on IR. So the 49ers' top 3 running backs to start the season will finish the season on injured reserve. So brutal for the San Francisco 49ers. But wait, there's more. Kevin Givens, come on down. Kevin Givens will find himself on injured reserve with a torn pectoral muscle. Kevin Givens missed, I believe, the last 3 weeks of the year. He finally was able to return. Kevin Givens had showed promise early on in the season, but he had been banged up as one of the main guys filling in for Javon Hargrave, who's on IR. And then now Kevin Givens will find himself on IR. So just a very, very difficult situation as the 49ers injuries continue to just pile up. It really is insane, the amount of injuries that they're dealing with. And not only that, but just the other things that have started to pile up on them as well has just been a tidal wave that, the 49ers will have a hard time to overcome. Any team who is dealing with this would have a challenging time to overcome. Like they have so many players down, hurt, out. It's just unfathomable that anyone could overcome this situation this year. So just crazy. I feel for all the guys that are going through it. And all that good stuff. We have some additional updates. I I would be remiss to not talk about Trent Williams just in the slightest. I don't want to spend a ton of time on it just out of respect to Trent. But we did find out, I think it was posted sometime last week by his wife, but Trent Williams and his wife suffered a stillbirth, and that was on the 24th. And they actually had twins, and they had lost their twin earlier in the pregnancy, and was forced into early labor, and unfortunately lost his son Trent Jr. So my thoughts, my heart, my energy, prayers, anything you can imagine are going out to Trent Williams and his family. I can personally rationalize a little bit what he had to go through. I too had experienced a similar thing, as you guys know, who've been writing with the channel. You guys actually you had to witness that. We lost one of our twins around 20 weeks, and it put my wife into preterm labor at 28 weeks. We spent 2.5 months in the NICU with my youngest. Thankfully, he was able to come out, but unfortunately for Trent, did not have that same fortune. So my heart is going out to Trent. Trent is not only one of my favorite players, he's one of my favorite guys. He's just a great dude. He's a great person. Loves his family. He's already got a couple daughters, and just absolutely gutted for him. And brutal, just brutal. So all love for Trent, man. I love that dude. I really do. Like, he's, people ask me all the time, like, who's your favorite player? I always say it's a tie between Trent Williams and George Kittle. They're going to have to arm wrestle each other. I just love Trent. I love everything about Trent, everything he stands for, everything he's battled through in his personal life. Trent is just that guy. So my heart goes out to him, his family. I can't even imagine. Again, keep him in your thoughts throughout this challenging time. In regards to the injury portion of it, Trent and Nick Bosa will be evaluated throughout the week, so we will have to see if they will be able to step onto the field or not. But we do know that those two guys obviously are game changers, and they have a chance to return this week. We just don't know for sure. So we'll have to monitor their availability. And I mean, honestly, at this point, with what Trent's going through, man, take all the time. Again, same exact thing we said with Mooney. I don't even think Trent should come back. I think, at least this week, when the time is right for Trent should come back. But if that's not this year, like, I love Trent. Trent needs to do whatever he needs to do, man. And right now, especially right now, playing football for this team is probably at the bottom of that list. So he's got to do what he needs to do. He needs to take care of himself, take care of his family. Football should be the least of his worries right now. I know it's his job, but other things are a little bit more important right now. In regards to Diamador Lenore, Diamador Lenore is expected to return to practice this week. He's been dealing with a knee injury, but he should be back on Wednesday. So the 49ers will get some good news there by getting Diamador Lenore back in practice. Jordan Elliott and Aaron Banks remain in the concussion protocol. What I've seen from Ben Barch, at least from the broadcast version, I was pleasantly happy with. I tweeted this out earlier. I am going to watch the tape of last night's game for the sole purpose of trying to determine if Ben Barch is a player that the 49ers should bring back next year to potentially compete for a starting job, whether at guard or safety. So Ben Barch is a guy that I think initially, from what we saw, played pretty well, specifically in the run game, which is where Banks has struggled this season. So I'm curious to see how that will play out in the end, but I will be watching the tape to kind of see how to see how Ben Barch did, to see if we should add him to the list of players that 49ers should bring back to compete for a starting spot next year, because I'm not sure that Aaron Banks will be retained after this season. He is a free agent, so the 49ers might let him test free agency. So we'll have to see. Jordan Elliott, again, the 49ers signed in free agency. He's been banged up all year. He is still in the concussion protocol as well. Some good news, I guess. Talanoa Hufanga had his practice window open from IR, and so the thing with Talanoa is he's got, I believe, a torn. He's got some kind of ligament damage in his thumb. I can't remember off the top of my head, but some kind of ligament damage in his thumb that's kept him out since he returned from the ACL injury. From what we've heard, he's still going to have to deal with it. It's not healed, but I think he's willing to play through with a cast. So we'll have to see, but he will be able to return to practice along with Dre Greenlaw. So these guys aren't officially active yet, but they are going to ramp up coming up. The good thing, I think, with Hufanga's injury is it's to his hand, so he can still stay conditioned. Like, he can do those types of things. I think Talanoa Hufanga is going to want to get onto the field because he is a free agent. He is an unrestricted free agent at the end of this year. So I would have to imagine, like, a lot of people are like, don't play Hufanga, don't play Greenlaw. But both of these guys are unrestricted free agents, and they're playing for their next contract. So I would actually imagine to see that both Hufanga and Greenlaw will be saying, let us get onto the field. Like, let us get out here. We need to prove our worth. We need to prove that we're healthy, and we need to prove that we can earn a contract. So the fact that both Hufanga and Dre Greenlaw are unrestricted free agents, to me, tells me that they're going to try to get back onto the field. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. with those guys coming back. But I do believe that they will try to angle to get back onto the field so they can prove that they can get that next bag. So I'll open it up to you guys. Obviously, today's big portion of the show is just recapping the absolutely insane injury stuff that has been going on with the San Francisco 49ers, both their first and second string running backs to IR, most likely done for the season. They are so depleted at defensive line. It's not even funny. They're just so depleted everywhere. Just starters out at every single level. Starters out from the safety position, starters out from the cornerback position, starters out from the linebacker position, DN, D tackle. Just they're missing everyone. They're missing everyone, and it's brutal. How rare is it to see a Juice fumble? Dude, I think the last time Juice fumbled was like 2018. Like, it's been, I can't even recall. It's the first fumble he had lost since December 2018. It's his first fumble since November of 2020. So it's been a long time. It's been a long time. And it came at an awful time. CMC is on IR. Justin says, is RB low-key a need in the draft with CMC out for the season and Mason likely gone? Justin, I know where you're getting at. I know what you're getting at. Yes, it will be. For sure. Running back, potentially fullback. This might be Juice's last year with. Let me double check his SPO track to see what we're talking about with his future. So he is actually okay. Well, they have an out for next year. So if they wanted to, they could move off of him. What might be the reason why they move off of him in 2025 is he carries basically a $6.5 million cap hit in 2025, but only a $2.2 million dead cap hit. So if they wanted to get more cap space, that could be a way to get some additional money. So I don't know if it would require like a post June 1st release or something like that, but that is something that I think is in question for sure. Could come back for next year. Like I said, he is under contract, but there is a potential for them to maybe make the chance to move on. Brad, do they have an IR for fans? I think they need to head. I think I need to head there myself. Funny enough, I posted myself last night I was down so bad watching that game. This was one of the posts that I made from I said developing story. The SF Niners admin was seen falling onto the floor and it has yet to return to action. Reports are coming in. The admin is officially questionable to return. Broken heart. Yeah, so I feel you, man. I feel you. I'm right there. And then we ended up breaking news. SF admin has officially been ruled out and is currently getting an MRI to determine structural damage. God damn it. Oh, it sucks, man. It sucks. This is a rough season, for sure. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. This is a down year in the most unfortunate of ways. Scattaboo. Hey, Scattaboo's underrated. Not many people talking about Scattaboo. Also, amazing name. So if you don't get Justin's guy, if you don't get Ashton Gentry, who very well could win the Heisman, Scattaboo could be a guy that the 49ers try to look at, maybe second, third round. They wanted to add some additional running back. I would actually imagine the 49ers go probably another third round running back coming up here. So they need another tight end for sure. I was thinking about this earlier today. I just really think the 49ers miss Charlie Warner more than they were anticipating. I talked about it. I was like, I did not love that the 49ers let Charlie Warner go. I thought it was a tough decision. I understood it because he didn't add anything as a pass catcher, but he was you could make the case he wasn't like an elite level blocking tight end. Like you could really make that case. Obviously, not an elite tight end at all in any stretch. I think he had like 4 catches over. No, what was it? I think he had 11 targets over 4 years, something crazy like that. But I do think that the 49ers need they need more depth at tight end. Obviously, I hope that George Kittle gets a raise. That's going to be an interesting element of this season that I don't think anyone has really kind of wrapped their head around. George Kittle will have a $21 million cap hit next year. So he is under contract through 2025. He'll also carry a $20 million dead cap hit. I think it would make sense for the 49ers to extend him, give him a contract extension, kick out the cap space further, and let him retire a Niner. I really think that's what they should do. Don't know if they will. But I think that could be something that maybe we're not anticipating this year, but could be something that maybe will happen. I don't know. But they need help at tight end. They need help at running back. They need help at offensive line. They need help at defensive tackle. They need help at edge. They need help at linebacker. They need more depth at cornerback. Because most likely you're going to have Ronaldo Green step into the starting role opposite of Diamond Lenore, but you still need depth. So they're going to need another cornerback. They should go out and try to get 2 more cornerbacks at minimum. They need more safeties for sure. Because I think from what we've seen, Jair Brown, it could click for Jair Brown, but it's just not clicking right now. So the hope is that, the 49ers continue to keep adding at safety, keep adding at depth. We don't know what it's going to look like, if Hufanga is going to return or not. So there's a lot of this season's going to be crazy because there's going to be so much movement. So many decisions are going to have to be made, and they're going to have to get younger. They're going to have to get younger. They're going to have to get more talent that they can develop. It's going to have to be a mix too. They're going to have to get plug and play guys, but they're also going to have to get guys that they can stash and that can play special teams and that can fill in spot starts. There's a lot of, I think there's a lot of players on this roster that probably wouldn't be on this roster if they just didn't lack depth. They just lack depth at a lot of spots. And so there's guys that they're running out there that they probably don't want to be running out there. And it is what it is. So this off season, high emphasis in the draft, high emphasis in free agency, high emphasis on potential players to let go or return. This is an interesting one. I don't know. I don't know how the 49ers are going to handle this. I don't know how they're going to handle Moody. I don't. I know that they are very bought in to Moody. I know they are very invested into Moody. So I'm going to go ahead and guess that they're going to give Moody another opportunity next season to figure it out. I would imagine if you asked a lot of the fan base, they're ready to rip the Band-Aid off and move on to the next. But that's the thing. It's like, what are they going to do? Draft another kicker? I just feel like if the 49ers were to draft another kicker, this fan base would literally implode. It was already a decision, to take a Moody in the third. It was a decision to take Cam Latu in the third. They made some decisions and they backfired, and they're hurting this team, man. They're hurting this team. So, the Cam Latu one, that one was painful because I think for those who do the draft work and pay attention to it, I think we all knew right away that the Cam Latu pick was a bad pick, right off the gate, instantly bad pick. He just wasn't good. He wasn't. I didn't understand it. Talked to people who knew Latu personally, and they were like, he's okay. It's like, oh no. Oh, what are we doing? What are we doing? So, and here we are. We, Sauber is, I think, a good third tight end. They needed someone. They needed someone to contribute at that position. So, hindsight is crystal clear as always, right? It's really easy to it's really easy to say like, "Oh yeah, I should have known better," right? Hindsight is always 2020 because we know what the outcome is. But at the end of the day, you look back and you see how things have went, and you're like, "Oh, maybe things could have been a little bit different." Um, brutal. Brutal. It's been a brutal year, guys. It's been a brutal year. So the crazy part about all of this is we have 5 weeks left. What are we supposed to do? 5 weeks left. The team is decimated with injuries. I would have to imagine their spirits are decimated as well, just like all of ours are. I think it's hard. These guys are human, man. I'm not gonna sit here and blame them for just going through the ringer this season. But the year is fried. Like it is cooked. Like are we cooked? Yeah, we're cooked right now. Like we are crispy. We are deep fried and burnt to a crisp, and we somehow have to get it together to play 5 more games. Um, and you know what I don't love either is now you're gonna have a team uh with that just fired their head coach that is probably gonna be coming into this game motivated. And hey, they were 4-2 at one point. They've lost some crazy games due to mismanagement. I think they're a better team than their record says, and they're going to be coming in with motivation. They're out of the Eberflus cloud, and you know how embarrassing it's going to be to get beat by a rookie quarterback with a coach that they just fired. Like, I can already see it happening now. You know, Not that I want that, not at all. I would love for the 49ers to somehow beat the Bears. But oh my gosh, like even the most optimistic fans, like I get it. Like we're gonna ride with our team to the end, guns blazing, whatever. Like I get it. I'm one of those types of people. But at the end of the day, we know what it is, man. These guys are hurt on and off the field. It's just like, holy crap, dude. Like, what the heck? What the heck, man? What the heck? Brutal season. You know, this is definitely by far, in my opinion, the worst season since 2016. Um, since the Chip Kelly year. I don't think it's up for debate. 2020 was bad, 2018 was bad. This is the worst for for the 49ers since Chip Kelly was here. Um, just the roller coaster of emotions, the offseason drama, uh, the way they've lost, how they've lost, the injuries, the tragedies. Brutal. Brutal. Wasn't Chip like, I don't know, it's a great question. What was Chip Kelly's record? Chip Kelly 49ers record. He was 2-14. Chip Kelly was 2-14. Um and they sweep the Los Angeles Rams. Those were the only 2 wins that they had. But keep in mind, not a single person expected the Chip Kelly 49ers to do anything. We had Blaine Gabbert at quarterback. We had Zane Beatles starting at guard. Like, dude, no one expected the Chip Kelly 49ers to do anything. We had high level of expectations this year. High level of expectation. We were talking Super Bowl this year at the beginning. We were talking 12-5, 13-4. That's what we were talking about with Chip Kelly. We had Blaine Gabbert. Who was the quarterback that we had that got hurt that I actually thought would have played well under Chip? I forget his name. He tore his ACL in the preseason. I was actually like, dude, I think this guy might give us a chance. I wish I could remember his name. It's gonna bug me. I'm gonna have to look it up. Who was it? Dang it, who was it? I'm not looking at the chat, so if you've put it in there, I'm not looking. I forget his name. No, it wasn't Christian Ponder. It's bugging me. And I'm not even seeing his name listed on the roster. It's probably because he was on IR before the season started. He came over from Philadelphia with Chip Kelly. He kind of was a mobile quarterback, and he had played really well in the preseason. Man, just looking at that roster, we had Colin Kaepernick, we had Raheem Mostert, we had Carlos Hyde, DeJuan Harris. Oh man, that's a name I haven't heard. Sean Drones, Mike Davis, Rod Streeter, Torrey Smith, DeAndre Smelter, Quentin Patton, Vance McDonald, Jeremy Curley, Aaron Burbridge. Remember him? Garrett Selleck, Blake Bell, 49ers legend Joe Staley, 49ers goofball, Anthony Davis. Could not stand that guy. Zane Beatles. We had Kilgore, Joshua Garnett, Trent Brown. Love Trent. DeForest Buckner, Aaron Lynch, Tank Carradine, Ronald Blair, Eric Armstead, Mike Purcell. Mike Purcell was good, man. I don't care what anyone has to say. Quentin Dial, Ahmad Brooks was still on the roster. Michael Wilhoit, Eli Harold. Man, I thought Eli Harold was going to actually be good. Shane Scove. I was so hyped off the Shane Scove edition. Never panned out. Navarro Bowman, Tremaine Brock, Jimmy Ward, Rashard Robinson. God, what a terrible draft pick he was. That was a nice trip down memory lane. Yeah, those were fun times, man. Those were fun times. Rashard Robinson. I'll never forget that. Passing up Dak Prescott for Rashard Robinson. Crazy. I wanted Dak Prescott so bad. I wanted Dak. Man, when they passed on Dak, they took Rashard Robinson, Dak Prescott went 2 picks later. Yes, Thad Lewis. Thank you. We have a winner. Thad Lewis is exactly who I was thinking of. I was like, oh, if this guy can stay healthy, he might be able to do something. Yes, Thad Lewis is exactly who I was talking. That thank you. That's exactly. I was gonna bug me. I can't remember his name. Thad Lewis was exactly it. I was like, all right, Thad, let's go. It's like he's cooking. What's good, James? Good to see you, man. We're so down bad that we're comparing this year's 49ers to the 2016 Chip Kelly team when it comes to just like how unfortunate this year has gone. Completely different scenario, completely different situations, but sadness about the same. About the same. So, we're sitting around naming old 49ers rosters, just reminiscing about the good old days of, other times when things were bad. Gosh. Crazy times, man. Crazy, crazy times. I mean, to be fair, I think it is time to take a look at some other guys. Just like they're looking at Ben Barch. They need to look at Nick Sakel, get a good feel for what Nick Sakel is, for sure. They needed that for sure. They need to look at Nick Sakel. They need to look at some of these guys. So, we'll see. We'll see what the 49ers decide to do. I don't know if they are in that exact mode yet, but they should be. They should be. I think it's time to take an inventory, see what you got. Yeah, man. Again, another just questionable 53-man roster move. They opt to keep Ambry Thomas. You remember Ambry Thomas? They kept Ambry Thomas over Kingston. Why? Why? Like what? For what purpose? For literally what purpose? Because you didn't want him to go to the Washington Commanders? Who cares? Let him go to the Washington Commanders. Like, what are we doing, man? Like, 49ers make some questionable, like 53. Like, it's always the back end ones. It's like always the guys that like are always the fringe guys, and they do some weird things. They do like, oh, we're gonna keep Ambry. Ambry's gonna make the 53, and then we're gonna put him on IR so he never sees the field, and we're gonna let a draft pick go that showed promise so that he can be signed by someone else. Like, what are we doing, man? Like, I'm just fascinated by those things. Like, what does that conversation look like? What does that conversation look like? They're sitting around like in Kyle's office. They're like, you know what we should do? We should keep Ambry, and then let's place him on IR. And then we'll hopefully get Kingston back around to the practice squad. No one's gonna poach him from us, right? No one watches us. No one is constantly trying to take our players. Anyways, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like it's easy to run a football team. And there's a lot of decisions to be made. Again, hindsight is always 2020. But sometimes you just wonder. Justin says, I just want to give Debo screens to Jacob Cowing and see what happens. I think that time will come. No, they released him? Really? I mean, I know he was buried in the depth chart and there's no chance that he was going to get a shot, but absolutely. Did they really release him? Yeah. Sign me up. I wanted the 49ers to draft him. For sure. Yeah, you bring him in. I think he was like a second or third round draft pick too, but he just never got a chance. He was buried on the depth chart. Yeah, that's definitely a guy that I for sure would want to swoop. So, hey man, we're gonna figure out a way to make sure that the rest of these 5 games we're doing something. We're evaluating. We're seeing who's going to be a part of next season. We're going to start seeing again for this next 5 weeks. I'm taking inventory basically. I'm taking inventory of guys that are going to be either free agents or should be cut. I don't know. I'm just going to be taking inventory of this roster. So these next 5 weeks for me are who I think I'm going to be looking at, who I think should return in 2025, who should the 49ers take a chance on, bring him back, who should compete, who should not be here anymore. And so that's pretty much how I'm viewing these next 5 weeks. I know we aren't officially mathematically eliminated, but I think my heart is mathematically eliminated at this point. I just have to accept the fate, or else I'll just be so much more miserable if I start to give myself any kind of hope for this season, just to have it stripped away. I just gotta start mentally preparing myself for the next year. You know, we gave it our try. We tried hard. We really did. We battled. We fell short. Those 3 division games will continue to haunt me for the rest of this year because they single-handedly changed the outcome of this season. And now we are just absolutely ravished by injuries. So there's no even cushion to be able to deal with those, get guys back or anything. So brutal. Brutal. Taylor says at least the Sharks are fun to watch right now. That's what I'm hearing. I think it might be time to get into Sharks football. I think Sharks football might be time to get into Sharks hockey. James said it hasn't got home. They put Jordan Mason on IR with a high ankle sprain. So CMC's done for the year. Jordan Mason, IR, high ankle sprain. So, yeah, this will be a Sharks channel from now on. I don't know. So we'll see. But going to be a fun off season. We're going to be talking about who should get paid, who shouldn't get paid. Oh, it's going to be a blast. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be I don't even know. I don't even know, bro. At this point, I'm just trying to hold on to what little mental health I have remaining surrounding 49ers football. and start to, and for me to do that, I have to I have to start looking ahead. It's the only thing that's going to keep me sane. Because if I just live in this season, it's going to feel unfortunate. What are we drafting with the 14th pick? Probably someone that I wouldn't draft. That seems to be the 49ers MO. So that's how we're going to do it. I will still do what I do and still give my best suggestions, just for the 49ers to be like, nope. No. We're going to go here where no one else is thinking, which again, I'm not being critical of, because they have found success going kind of against the grain at times. But they've also been burned as well. So I don't know if they get a high first round draft pick. Hopefully, it sucks too because I don't even think there are that many good quarterbacks in this class. So it's not even like we're going to have the top talent pushed down to us either. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they handle this. Graham is a guy that I was thinking about, the defensive tackle for Michigan potentially. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But hey, I know this has been a rough year. I know today has been a rough day with all the injury news. But again, I appreciate all you guys. I appreciate everyone who somehow still finds the courage to tune in to these lives, to tune in and watch the videos, because as you guys know, that means a whole lot to me. So I really appreciate it. And trust me, we're going to have a lot of conversations coming up about what the 49ers plan should be here in the future, draft-wise, free agency, guys that they need to evaluate seriously, moving off of or keeping. So we're going to have a lot of that stuff going on coming up here. But appreciate everyone for tapping in as always. Grab those cookies on your way out. Smash that like button on the video if you could for me. That would be greatly appreciated. And hey, at the end of the day, appreciate you guys. We'll get through this together. Win, lose, or draw. We're still gonna ride out. So appreciate the gang. Appreciate the SDS. You guys are the best. Remain undefeated as always. And we'll be back. Like I said, I'm going to be doing some Ben Bartch homework, and, we'll get into it. So draft season 2 right around the corner. So we're going to have plenty of stuff to talk about, but appreciate you guys as always. I'm out of here. Peace. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it.